Amidst the backdrop of conversations about stress culture and student wellness, Columbia College Student Council and Engineering Student Council both have been having discussions about the possibility of adopting policy for more students to take courses as pass-fail. Joining us today on Newsmakers, we have CCSC Academic Affairs Representative Stephen Castellano, ESC Vice President of Policy Bora Kim, and former ESC Vice President of Policy Logan Donovan. I'm Jeremy, I'm the campus news editor for Spectator.
Hi, I'm Casey, I'm the city news editor.
And let's get started. So where did your conversations begin about taking courses pass-fail, and what has kind of been the new policy, or what has your council done to kind of see, where you can kind of go in the future with this?
Well, I'll start for engineering students. We haven't really been able to take any classes pass-fail because all credits that we take in our time at Columbia are part of our degree. And so in that purview, we weren't allowed to pass-fail classes beyond our major like they were in Columbia College. And then I think sort of in the middle of last year, around the spring, there was a lot of talk about wellness. The Student Wellness Project got started, and the thing that I saw as the biggest proponent of stress that's sort of institutional and perpetual is academics. And so I started to think of this as a way that I could sort of help students to alleviate that, and not just sort of in ways that affect other parts of their lives.
So this past week it was announced that engineering students will be able to take up to 6 credits of non-technical electives pass-fail, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
In my case, I think the conversation started around when I was campaigning. That around that time, classes were being announced to be 8:40 for the first time rather than 9:10. And after talking to students, I found many of them were very upset with this, and they were saying they would lose the one half an hour of sleep they would get. So after talking with more students, I realized that the real issue was stress, and I wanted to come up with policies that would alleviate stress. And council looked into 12 different alternatives, a lot of different ideas, from anything from lowering the credit limit during registration to lowering the degree requirements to graduate. And eventually we reached this proposal, which seemed to have the most backing from students and the most support from looking at other schools. So the policy would be that all non-core, non-language classes, non-small seminars, would be taken pass-fail in the first semester while students are adjusting.
Okay. Yeah, and the credit limit would also drop.
And during that semester, just that first semester, the credit limit would drop to focus on a few key classes.
Okay. So what has the student response been, both on the engineering side and the Columbia College side?
Well, one of the major reasons for the rationale behind this policy isn't just stress per se, but it is also to encourage students to take classes that they're actually interested in. So a lot of engineering students, one area where they have a lot of academic freedom is the non-technical electives. However, currently students do feel discouraged from taking classes that they really want to, because they're like, oh, there are some CC students that are majoring in that poli-sci, and I don't want to compete with them, so I'm going to choose a 10,000 level a class that may be easier.
Sure.
So by making pass-fail an option to engineering students, we foresee that it might encourage students to go ahead and take that class, and it's just a way for students to feel more comfortable taking a harder class. So in that sense, we've heard that students are really excited to be able to have that confidence boost to go ahead and take that class. And this is also reflected in the survey that we did for the past semester. So we're very excited to have students go ahead and use this policy.
Okay.
So yeah, I've heard a lot of student responses. Thanks to Spec, my picture is right on the cover, so a lot of people know me as the one who, I guess, mainly advocated the policy, although there definitely were a lot of people behind it. And I'd say about 75% of people have been very positive to me. A lot of people who I haven't even know have come up to me and be like, oh, you're the pass-fail guy, thank you so much. My adjustment was so rough, and this is going to be so helpful. Can you spread it to these other schools? Things like that. And then I'd say another 25% bring very legitimate concerns about how this will be implemented. And some of them are things that I'm worried about as well, like will people study as hard, or will they take their classes as seriously? And some of them are, oh, what about pre-med? What about internships and kind of logistical things that we actually have considered? So it's been my experience that in about, and I'm estimating, in about 3/4 of this 25%, when I then explain to them the rationale, the research we've done, they're like, oh, this is a good idea.
Great. And then kind of on the other side of things, let's talk about the administrative response for a minute, just kind of see like what qualms have been raised, has the administration supported this, or what's been your experience there?
So I think from the engineering side, when we brought up this proposal, a lot of professors were concerned basically that the academic rigor of our program is extremely important to them. And so the rationale that Bora talked about in terms of like using this as a way to have students take harder classes that they're more interested in to sort of like have the same level of or to have the same challenge basically in their non-tech that they have in their engineering courses was what they were interested in seeing. And so in order to sort of not be able to game the system in some way or something, there were some restrictions put in place. So like we can't pass-fail a class that's less than 3,000 level. You can only do one per semester, and you can only take up to 6 credits this way the whole time that you're here. And it still applies to only a very small section of all the credits that we take. But I think that the restrictions sort of keep in mind the spirit of why we wanted to do it. And I think it's a good step in the right direction because I think that this is something that has been tried many times in engineering school, and this is the first time it's passed. So I'm very happy to see that we can have a chance to see how it works out and then reevaluate it in 2 to 3 years. So we actually have some like data and see how the project goes, and then maybe be able to expand it from there.
And that wasn't just a concern on the part of administrators, it was also a concern that was raised by students as well. So one of the questions on the survey was, do you think having a pass-fail policy would dilute the quality of your education? A lot of students gave us great, insightful feedback, ranging from, yes, I think so because I'd be discouraged to work as hard, and 2 responses like, no, not at all, because I'd be able to take interesting classes where I'd be actually trying to learn and not stressing so much about the grade, and no, because I would take the class pass-fail with the intention to uncover, so I would work at just as hard.
But we're also, the part of the policy is you're not allowed to uncover your grades in engineering at all. So that's a consideration, is like if you do choose to pass-fail, you have to know that your grade will never be available to you in an official sense.
So the recommendation by COI was to take the class on a grade basis, and then by the 10th week of class, decide to pass-fail it if they wish to. So it's a plan, fallback plan that's there for them if students need, but it's meant to really just give you that extra encouragement to take that hard class.
Yeah, with regard to faculty, I was actually surprised by this, but I'd say the majority of faculty, maybe like 2/3, did support the policy. They were saying, we allow one course in the major to be taken pass-fail, and we want people to be less stressed, so yeah, this would be great. And some departments made the point that it would encourage students to explore that department that might previously be afraid. Administrators and faculty obviously are concerned that maybe students wouldn't work as hard, and there's also logistical concerns for certain departments. So those were the main concerns brought up to me. I think that, and then I think the one thing that you guys mentioned, how you made it 3,000 level classes after speaking with faculty, that's where we decided to eliminate core and language classes after speaking with faculty. I met with Gareth Williams and Christy Mercer for Lit Hum and Nicole Waller for e-writing, and the idea was that although this might be a good idea for those courses, at the same time we don't want to dilute the quality of these small seminars, and it was the same thing with language classes. There's small groups of people meeting, and you don't want people to not take it seriously and then drag other people's experiences down, because then you're not just affecting yourself.
Sure. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and be sure to tune in next time for Newsmakers.